that they were finding something real within each other that they couldn't get with everything else they were doing in their lives. And even though they were good at their jobs, it does present them both as good at what they're doing. They do, like you said, see disillusioned. They seem completely disconnected and detached from it. And like, I think that's why Moriarty chooses to be so relaxed as he does his job. It's almost like, I'm going to do it and I know how to do it and I do it well, but I don't really care. Like,
it's kind of, it feels like a movie about like two people who have made peace with the fact that they're like professionals who have kind of sold their souls to the devil a little bit, but then they go, but they're very smart and good at what they do. And when they eventually find out that they're being tricked and like they are supporting something that's much, much worse than they ever imagined, that's when they kind of go, damn, maybe we need to, confront what evil these corporations are actually doing to people.
And what's interesting too is them being in a position where they don't seem to consume any of this marketing or what have you, because there's no hypnosis with their character. They seem like completely away from it. And
yeah, at one point she literally calls it actually like a conflict of interest or whatever, like she doesn't eat anything that she sells.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then when you have the suburban scenes with the family, with the young Jason, I believe it is, the parents have, and even before he says that one line that you said where it's like you act like you talk like you're in a commercial. Even the first scene they have, I understood what their performance was supposed to be. There's these fake smiles. The father has this strange attitude where Jason gets up in the first scene and goes to the kitchen and he's just looking for food, and when he sees the stuff, it's spilt over and it's like breathing and he's just very freaked out by it. But the father comes down,
as one should be.
And yeah, absolutely. And the father comes down and just sees him in the fridge and just starts scolding him and really starts yelling at him. And I was like, wow, this is a strict household. And it's all for just being hungry at 3 a.m. and going down to seeing if you can get a little snack. And that to me felt so unnatural. It felt less like he was just this piece of shit dad and more just like something is inhuman about him. And so as you see these patterns and it leads up to that, I think it's cool that you can see it prior in the performances. Something just feels off and bizarre right away.
Totally. No, like there is a deliberately sort of campy tone to it that he's actually weaponizing in order to make his satirical point that he's doing in this horror fashion, right? Like I love that bit when when at a certain point when he is literally like, why are you talking like you're on a commercial? Because his parents are like trying to essentially force feed him this. They're like, why don't you like the stuff, Jason? The stuff is awesome. It's so good for us, Jason. It kills all the bad things inside of us and it has 0 calories.
And it's just, again, too, like the way he
everyone's stuffing their face with like an extraterrestrial like symbiote that it's like the white venom essentially they're just putting into their bodies.
And I also love anything. Both of these movies have it. Of course, one does it better than the other, this one, but both of the movies have this trope that I really love, which is that the kids are in on something none of the adults are aware of, or they've been tricked by, or something like that. I don't know why it just leads to more. It helps also with a satirical movie because having a kid like infiltrate a giant factory and all of that just in itself is kind of silly.
I always like a movie that does like that thing that we talked about when we talked about The Window, where it's the kids live in a separate world that kind of has different rules that they need to figure out, and there's a helplessness and a danger to like a kid is basically in a prison that his family controls, and so like if the kid knows something that the rest of the family doesn't know, you get kind of stressed out just inherently because like this kid is like, he's trying to explain, like, he's even trying not to sound crazy at first. He's just being like, it's spoiled, like it's just bad, like it's not good.
Yeah,
and, like,
I don't
that's all. And they're literally stuffing their faces with it. And, at a certain point in the film, he goes on a rampage through the grocery store trying to sabotage all the units so nobody else eats it because he's really freaking out. And it's this comically destructive way that he's essentially like a misbehaved child in like a commercial or something like that. And there's extended scenes in the pre-release version where he actually gets in trouble with the law, and there's like extended scenes where they have to come and like pick him up and they have to be like, Jason, we told you can't, you're grounded, you're gonna and it's just there's something really like just that. Yeah, like they that's the stuff that it mostly expands on, because I guess the producers were like, anything that can be trimmed to get quicker to the fact that it's like, you know, like an actual like monster horror film,
yeah,
like do it. And so any scene where it was like expanding more on these characters, expanding more on this weird commercial vibe that the movie has, that's entirely what like the extra 30 minutes is. And there's I won't lie, there's parts of it where I went, yeah, you could have trimmed that a bit,
right?
You know, like you didn't need every scene to go on as long as it does. And there's lots of scenes of characters like, you know, driving to places longer than they probably need to. Like there is a sense of momentum to the 85-minute one that I totally see.
Yes.
So, you know, there's probably a bridge version of the two movies that's like, you know, a classic like hour 45 or something.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how I felt when I was watching it. Most of it works for me because the pacing is so streamlined. I mean, a lot of it is just based on the more exciting scenes, and then in between you just get what's necessary for you to understand kind of character motivations, and you know, they have certain moments with the romance, but it does sound like, you know, they really focus in on it a little bit more, and they focus in more on the family stuff. It is strangely like a romantic hangout movie with those two characters for a lot of like, just like it doesn't, there's no like huge scene I can point you to where it's like, bam, they have an extra 10 minutes of just like having sex all the time. But it's like, every scene is like more of them talking, and like more of them, like every, so.